is football time. We are 1 hour away from kickoff. We made it. It's been a long offseason. Football offseason's always long, longer than any other sport. What is it, 9 months, really? Beginning of February is when football season ends. And no, I'm doing my math wrong there. 7 months. It's a 7-month long break. Either way, it's the longest break in sports, and we're here. It is football time. We're just kind of here for the next 45 minutes before the game. Like I told you guys, going live every single day of the season until the end of week 17. Every single day. That's the goal. And we're starting off today, and we're going live. So obviously there's not going to be a whole lot of, maybe there's some questions out there that you have, start, sit. I'm sure everyone's, it's like a holiday, really, the start of the football season. So I'm sure everyone's out there. Maybe, ordering their food, cooking food, heading to a friend's house, whatever you're doing. I hope you are enjoying it. And yes, we are an hour away from the kickoff. We got Eagles, Cowboys, some big fantasy relevant game. Usually the first game is, right? The first game of the football season, Super Bowl champions versus someone good usually. So obviously we got Saquon, Hurts, CeeDee Lamb, AJ Brown, Devonta Smith, George Pickens. Maybe we're going to find out a little bit more about the running back situation in Dallas. So that's going to be interesting to see. Other guys, maybe Jake Ferguson, Dallas Goedert. So yeah, we're here. If you have any questions, again, leave them in the chat. I am, if we don't have any questions, going to kind of review our latest draft that we went over. Or that we did with our listeners, our first listener league draft that we've done in the history of this channel, listener league redraft, I should say. And so here it was. We drafted this last night live on the show. It was a super flex league and a tight end premium league. It's deep starting rosters. As you can see here, we start a quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers. So there's 5 right there. A tight end is 6. And then we have 5 flex spots, including a super flex, which is 11. So it's a 12-team start 11. This is kind of how it turned out. Again, not that it matters too much, but I did kind of want to go over it and give some love to the league that we drafted with and stuff like that, and kind of give my opinion about some of these teams. But if you guys have any questions, leave them in the chat. Tell me how excited you are for the NFL season to be back, because I know I'm excited. We'll be live until 8 Eastern, 6 my time, 5, I guess, West Coast time. We will be live. And then, of course, we're not going to be live during the game at all. This is kind of how the draft turned out. We had the number 1 pick. We had Josh Allen and Brock Purdy. So, Pete here, who's one of our loyal listeners, he starts off with Allen and Purdy in the first 2 rounds, and then he kind of just says, hey, I got my 2 quarterbacks. One of them doesn't have a bye week until week 14. Week 7 for Josh Allen, I'll figure that out when it comes. Doesn't really have a QB3. Maybe he has a QB3 by the time week 14 rolls around. Shedeur Sanders is starting, so he has a pretty solid team there, at least 2 guys. And we just got to update that Jaden Blue's not playing. Okay. Just in case he was in anyone's starting roster, you might want to go and remove him there. But anyway, so Pete, he starts Jonathan Taylor. I know I have Jaden Blue in some deep league here. I have to figure out where he's at real quick. I think it's in this league. That's the issue with having too many damn leagues, huh? This team's in trouble. We have so he has Josh Allen, Purdy, and then Shedeur Sanders. His running backs are Jonathan Taylor, Chuba Hubbard, Tony Pollard. Pretty solid top 3 right there, with Bayshall, Tootin, Woody Marks, and DJ Giddens. Young 3 rookie running backs that we all are, getting a little bit of hype. Are they the RB2s for their team? RB3s? We'll see. He has Cortland Sutton, George Pickens, Jordan Addison, Jaden Higgins, Luther Burden, and Torrey Horton. So, pretty solid wide receiver core there. A little bit weak in the area until Addison comes back, I think. So if you can kind of weather the storm a little bit there, until Addison comes back in week 4, then I think you'll be okay. We'll see about Jaden Higgins. Christian Kirk's kind of dealing with a groin or hamstring injury or something. So maybe we get some more Jaden Higgins out there, or Jalen Noel. I'm not sure how the Texans are going to run their wide receivers in 2 wide receiver and 3 wide receiver sets. I'm not sure if the plan was to always have if Christian Kirk was going to be the slot and only be in on 3 wide receiver sets, or was it Jaden Higgins and Nico Collins in 2 wide receiver sets? So, I don't know. Either way, it's good for Higgins. Again, this is a 2-point per reception tight end premium league. So you have Njoku, Goddard, and Jonnu. And you imagine, and Aronde Gadsden there, you imagine you can potentially start one of those guys. In a flex outside of starting them in the tight end spot. Mega Marv, he waits till round 3 to get his quarterback, round 4 to take his first quarterback, but then he takes 3 of his next 4 picks, rounds 4, 5, and 7. He takes a quarterback here. So, he kind of loads up there. He gets Baker Mayfield, Trevor Lawrence, and Bryce Young. So he has a pretty solid 3 quarterbacks that you feel fairly confident that they're going to start all year unless they get injured, right? Bryce Young, maybe you can make that argument. I think what we saw from the end of the year from Bryce Young, we could feel fairly comfortable that, he needs to be starting and playing and unless he's just horrendous, which I guess is a possibility. Let me make sure I have something here. I just realized I made it to where comments wouldn't be allowed. So you should be able to leave a comment now. Sorry about that. I just realized if you make a refresh, guys, you should be able to comment on the live stream there. Not sure why it was turned off there, but you should be able to comment if you refresh there. That's my bad. I had it set for kids, which this isn't a show for kids. So hopefully that everyone give that a refresh and you should be able to drop your comments there. If you so very well want to do that. But anyways, yeah, so you get 3 starting quarterbacks there. We got running backs, Josh Jacobs, Warren, Etienne, Dowdle, and Miles Sanders. I think Etienne's a nice value in the 10th round there. Jalen Warren. We'll see how that's all going to play out. But, kind of looking at Jalen Warren's 2023 numbers, I was kind of impressed with him kind of being the 1B, RB2 to Najee, like put up over 1,100 yards, 60 catches. So that's pretty exciting stuff there. Rico Dowdle, Miles Sanders as well. He has Jamar Chase, Jacoby Myers, Josh Downs, Jaden Reed, Jalen Coker, Romeo Dobbs. So, I mean, obviously you have that anchor wide receiver there in Jamar Chase, and then it gets a little sketchy after that. But that's what's going to happen when you take your 5 of your first 7 picks are quarterbacks and tight ends. And again, it's a super flex league. It's a tight end premium, so you can easily start these 2. Kittle and Hawkinson are both going to be starting consistently, so we got to view it that way, right? Preebs has Lamar Jackson, Cam Ward, only 2 quarterbacks for Preebs. So there's, it's interesting with Superflex. Like I generally want to leave the draft with 3 quarterbacks because you generally need a 3rd quarterback to win in a Superflex league. But in redraft, it's a little bit less necessary. And in if your quarterbacks have kind of later buys and stuff like that, it's not as necessary, I think, to go out and grab a 3rd quarterback. So Lamar has a week 7 bye, Cam Ward week 10, but it's a little bit sketchy there with you would want at least a little bit more consistent, I think, QB2, or a little bit more I can rely on this too, but I get it, and sometimes it's really hard in Superflex leagues to take quarterbacks at the level of a Justin Herbert, a Jared Goff, a Jordan Love, when there's guys sitting on the, Mike Evans, McLaurin, Marvin Harrison, James Cook, Omarion Hampton are sitting there on the board. It's really, really hard to take those guys. So, anyways, so Preebs, in a super flex league has his two quarterbacks, but one of them is Cam Ward. Really good wide running backs here. He has Achane. Really good wide receivers. His running backs are Achane, Caleb Johnson, Aaron Jones, Zach Charbonnet. So, I mean, right now it's kind of like you have two guys you think are going to be starting, but really only one sure thing in Achane. And then Caleb, we're not sure about yet. Aaron Jones, we're not sure what kind of split he'll be in. Zach Charbonnet is the backup most likely, but he has really good kind of handcuffs, RB2s, maybe guys that are start worthy in this format in a deeper league. So with guys like Charbonnet, Braylon Allen, Ramondre Stevenson, and then some higher level handcuffs there in Shipley, maybe Kendre Miller, Jarquez Hunter. By the way, guys, make sure to refresh in case you can't see that. Whether or not you can leave a comment in the live chat. If you can't right now, you have to refresh because I had it for whatever reason. I had it where you couldn't leave a comment, but you should be able to now. His wide receivers, though, AJ Brown, Marvin Harrison, Mike Evans, Rome Odunze, and then Cedric Tillman, Pat Bryant. He gets Laporta and Hunter Henry. Kula Gorilla was the first to take three quarterbacks in. He took three in his first four picks, which I don't mind it when there's value there. Obviously, I'm much more open to it in a dynasty league, but also in a redraft. League. So, he goes with Jaden Daniels, Mahomes, Herbert. Then doesn't take another quarterback here, and then his running backs: R.J. Harvey, Tyrone Tracy, Judkins, Krosky, Merritt, Dylan Sampson. I kind of like that running back room, except for the Judkins one. I just don't know what to expect from Quinshon Judkins. I really don't. It's really, really hard. I think there's rumors of a potential suspension coming down. Browns are kind of holding off on signing him. The guy hasn't practiced at all, Quinshon Judkins, and when you practice during the season, you're practicing for that next game. You need guys who kind of know, and I'm not saying Quinshon Judkins doesn't know the playbook or anything like that, but you kind of have to be comfortable in the system, know the playbook, be comfortable with your teammates. I just don't see Quinshon Judkins doing anything until mid-October at the earliest, and maybe much later than that. So, but I do like the running backs in Harvey, Tracy, Krosky, Merritt, Sampson, in terms of waiting until round 7 and getting some good ones there. You had Ladd McConkey, Terry McLaurin, DK Metcalf, Evan Ingram, Colston Loveland, Cole Kmet, Harold Fannin Jr. So, if Loveland turns into what a lot of people think he can, then you're going to be flexing London in this league. Once again, it's a 5 flex league, including a super flex. So, into Pinchy Bobby's team, our friend Bobby, he got Justin. He waited till round 6. He was one of the last teams to take their first quarterback. Got Justin Fields and Russell Wilson. I like the Fields pick. To only have 2 quarterbacks and one of them's Russell Wilson, I don't feel great about that in Superflex because you're not guaranteed. At that point, I think the only other quarterback he could have taken that was kind of guaranteed to be the starter was Aaron Rodgers, starter all year. Flacco will start the year, but we don't know, if he's going to play the whole season. Daniel Jones is still there. I think I would have made it a priority if I took Russell Wilson to go out and get Jackson Dart as well, but he didn't do that. He does have Chase Brown, James Cook, Cam Scatterbu, Najee Harris, Garendo, Jalen Wright. His wide receivers are Justin Jefferson, Brian Thomas. I mean, it feels great to start off with those 2 guys, followed up with Zay Flowers, Jameson Williams, Brandon Ayuk, Trey Harris, Joshua Palmer, and Jalen Noel. Has Kelsey, Kincaid, and Gesicki, potentially 3 guys he can start at the tight end position in the tight end premium. Your girls waited until round 5. This middle trio of teams really waited on their quarterbacks. Your girls waited until round 5, took C.J. Stroud, Geno Smith. So, I mean, if you're going to go with just 2 quarterbacks, I like going with, 2 guys that are going to start the whole year if they're healthy and are going to be at worst a low-end QB2, right? or like a top 17 guy, I should say. Yeah. That's a little bit different than Bobby's team, who doesn't have, Russell Wilson. We don't expect to start all year. Preebs, who Cam Ward is a little bit of a wild card, right? Any other teams with just two quarterbacks? I don't think so. But anyways, CJ Stroud and Geno Smith, and then you have Bijan, Kyron, Connor, Montgomery, Brian Robinson, Nick Chubb. That's a hell of a running back room there. Bijan, Kyron, Connor, Montgomery is awesome. Brian Robinson, we'll see what his role is, but at worst, he's the handcuff to McCaffrey, and we're worried about McCaffrey getting hurt. Nick Chubb is going to get some volume there. Wide receivers, Neighbors, JSN, Travis Hunter, followed up with Shakir, Christian Kirk, Keenan Allen, Thielen, Amari Cooper, and Lockett. Solid overall team with Darren Waller and Likely as your tight ends, though, in a tight end premium league. Hopefully you can find someone on the waiver wire there, but those guys could be solid too. We got Traylor here, who did wait the longest, I believe, to take his first quarterback, and it was Michael Penix at the 706. So he started off Gibbs, Henry, Bucky Irving, Hampton. Insane value there. Insane running back room. Follows it up with a Monungai at the end. Also gets Ted McMillan, Garrett Wilson, Rashee Rice, Matthew Golden, Rashad Bateman, and Dante Thornton. Solid wide receiver room. Taking Rashee Rice there, maybe you could have waited. I'm not sure. But taking Rashee Rice there, I don't mind it. But feels like you maybe could have waited just a little bit. And then his quarterback room is Michael Penix, Flacco, Dart, Rattler. So, he gives you Penix for sure going to start all year. Flacco's going to start the year, Steeson as the starter. And then maybe by the time, probably not, but potentially by the time Flacco's done as the starter, if he is done, that Jackson Dart takes over, or Rattler, is playing all year. So I don't mind this quarterback room for waiting until round 7. I don't think I would have taken that strategy, but I don't mind it. How it kind of all shaped out there. Follows it up with Ferguson, Strange, and Otten. 3 solid tight ends that are going to be productive for their teams, in my opinion. We got our friend Bo Soxer Smith here. Goes Burrow, Goff, and Stafford. Really, really good. Really good QB room. What's up, Marvin? Really good QB room there. He follows it up with Genti, Kamara, Pacheco. I like that start. And then get some high-end kind of RB2s, Benson, Bigsby, Spears, and Keaton Mitchell. That's a pretty good running back room. Yeah, I'll go over what I said, Marvin, for you there. No worries. Just staying live for the next 15 minutes or so until the game starts up here. And then he has his wide receiver room's a little bit iffy, though. You got Drake London and then Juwan Jennings, Marvin Mims, Alec Manor, Wandale, Jalen McMillan, Troy Franklin. Juwan Jennings could be a pretty good value if he kind of does what he did last year. That's incredible value. Marvin Mims is one of my favorite sleepers. So if these two guys, even if Juwan Jennings is just like a low-end wide receiver 2, and then Marvin Mims potentially produces like I think he can, and then maybe you hit on one more guy down here, it could all kind of work out. Also has Tyler Warren and Tucker Kraft. So, Marv, for you, I basically said you started off with in your first 7 picks with 5, 3 quarterbacks, 2 tight ends. So that's going to just make you weaker in areas for wide receivers and running backs. Sorry, I was reading a comment. So, but at the same time, you got to think of Hawkinson as a high-end wide receiver in a league, in a tight end premium league, right? So I like your running back room. I like Warren, ETN. We'll see about Rico Dowdle and Miles Sanders. You'll see tonight what kind of usage Miles Sanders is going to have. Jaden Blue, though, is a healthy scratch, I believe. I believe it's a healthy scratch. He's not playing. And Jaden Blue, where did he go here? He went in round 13. So maybe that means something for Miles Sanders. Who knows? I don't think it's all going to be Javonte. So Pete says you're just catching up. Listen to your review. I went QB and running back initially. I think scoring settings favored them. Let's see. Yeah, no, absolutely. I really like to start here. and again, like you don't have a QB3 really. I mean, you have Shedeur Sanders, but potentially don't have a QB3. But at the same time, one of your quarterbacks doesn't have a bye week until week 14. And so like you don't really have to worry about, you don't expect them to get injured, but you don't have to worry about, replacing Purdy until week 14. So you can figure something out there, right? Optimus Primer went Caleb, Darnold, and Rodgers. I kind of like that quarterback room, waiting until round 4 to take your quarterback, and to get Caleb, Darnold, and Rodgers. I kind of like that, Caleb and Darnold are going to potentially start all year. And then you have Rodgers, who I also think will start all year. I think that's a solid QB room. Running backs, Kenneth Walker, and then it gets tough, right? Kenneth Walker, Jordan Mason, Jaden Blue, Algier, Justice Hill. So you got kind of your anchor running back there. And then a lot of question marks. What is Jordan Mason going to be in Minnesota? Jaden Blue, he's a healthy scratch tonight. So what's he going to be in Dallas this year? We don't know. I mean, they notoriously, like Tony Pollard, they never used Tony Pollard really until a few years in. It was always frustrating. I think it was 2020 when I first started, Pollard really started catching my eye and being like, man, they should use this guy more. And then they didn't really use him until 2021, some more there. So anyways, so that running back room's a little bit sketchy there. But you get CeeDee Lamb, DJ Moore, Emeka Egbuka, Ricky Pearsall. I love the Egbuka Pearsall back-to-back picks there for Optimus Primer a lot. Darnell Mooney and Demario Douglas are going to be starters in a league like this. That's kind of how the format plays it. He does take Bowers and McBride, and again, in a tight end premium, you say like, okay, this is kind of where these guys are going in non-tight end premium leagues, in single quarterback non-tight end premium. So, those guys are going to be starting for him. Maybe one of these guys down here. We will see. My team here, I went Jalen Hurts, Kyler Murray. I just like to lock up at least one quarterback, maybe two, to start, and just not have to worry about it for a while. But I went Jalen Hurts, Kyler Murray, Tua. The QB3 well was running dry at this point. I wasn't going to pick again till 10-10. And in between my 9th round and 10th round pick, Stafford, Geno, Russell Wilson, Rodgers go. And that's about it for QB3s. Consistent, guys that are going to be there all year. It's kind of gone. So I wanted to get one more just in case. Took Anthony Richardson near the end. If he starts, he's going to be good. Marvin says, I really chose to pick tight end over wide receiver. I may stream tight end all year in the flex. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, Ertz, Freiermuth, Ferguson, all three of those guys, one of those three, in my opinion, are going to be you can consistently start those guys in a flex. Maybe even more than there could be 2 of 3, 3 of 3, right? I don't know exactly who it's going to be. I would lean on Ertz being the guy, but it could be Freiermuth, it could be Terrence Ferguson. My running backs, I went Travion, DeAndre Swift, Jerome Ford, Joe Mixon, Brashard Smith. So a little bit light in the running back room. I really like Henderson and Swift as my 1-2 there. Jerome Ford, I think, is really good. I think Jerome Ford in round 12 in a single quarterback is really good value. To get him in a super flex here, I think is pretty good. Joe Mixon, man, I mean, all the way in the end of the 14th round, you can stash him on IR. He could only miss 4 games. I think if Joe Mixon comes back, I think I potentially win this league, assuming everyone's healthy. If Joe Mixon comes back in week 5, I could see myself winning this league if he comes back and plays like he did last year. Because I'm getting a guy who should have been going around Kamara, Kenneth Walker, Breece Hall range in the 14th round. The problem is we just don't know if he's going to be healthy, right? Wide receivers, I have Puka Nacua, Tyreek Hill, Judy, Worthy, Kupp, Pittman, Kyle Williams. I really like that wide receiver room. I think Judy's going to be really good. I think Worthy's going to be awesome the first 6 weeks, get me off to a good start. Tyreek Hill is a little bit of a wild card, but we know what he's capable of. I like Kupp still, Pittman, so I really like this team. I waited on tight end. I took Mason Taylor. No one really talking about him, but he could be the most targeted player for the Jets. Theo Johnson, I think, is a bit of a sleeper. Juwan Johnson there. So Nipsey Hussle went. Nipsey Hussle went. Our friend Brandon, our family Brandon went. Bo Nix, JJ McCarthy, Daniel Jones. So pretty solid quarterback room there. He starts off with Barkley, McCaffrey, gets Breece Hall, Dobbins, Eckler, Ray Davis, Roschon Johnson. Really good running back room there. I mean, your top three guys are really, really good. You might get some startable, production from J.K. Dobbins and Eckler, and then you have some good backups in Ray Davis and Roschon. T. Higgins, Devontae Adams, Chris Olave, Stephon Diggs, Rashid Shaheed, Bastion Johnston with Andrews and Dalton Schultz. So overall, really, really good team there. And then my brother here, he went Dak, Jordan Love, and Mays. He locked up his quarterbacks very, very early. I don't think anyone else took 3. Oh, no, Killer Gorilla did. That's right. And then his running backs, he didn't take a running back till around 12. He gets Javonte, Rachaad White, Ollie Gordon, Kareem Hunt, Blake Corum, Raheem Mostert. So it's going to be tough in the running back department, especially if Javonte is not the guy, then it's going to be really tough. But if he is the guy, then I think you're okay. But then you look at that wide receiver room. I mean, Amon-Ra, Nico Collins, Jalen Waddle, Devonta Smith, Deebo Samuel, and Calvin Ridley with Keon Coleman. That's a really good receiving room. So, and then he gets, of course, Kyle Pitts-Okonkwo and Tyler Conklin, which I was furious that I didn't get him. Yeah, I mean, he was sitting there at the top of people's, board there. Like, at least for me, his ADP was at the top, right? And so, yeah, I think it's crazy that he went that late. I mean, again, I talked about it in last night's stream, but he's going to miss less time potentially than Rashee Rice. And Rashee Rice went in round 8. He's going to miss one more game potentially than Jordan Addison. Jordan Addison, where did he go? Jordan Addison went in round 9. Now Mixon there's a chance he just doesn't play like the whole season. The language around that, is a little bit scary. But again, 14th round pick that I can stash in my IR. I'm totally fine there. So, but anyways, guys, probably going to take off here unless you guys have any questions, predictions, all of that. I'm going to get the game on here, at least get it set up a little bit. We are going to be live every single day. I hope you guys join us. Start sit stuff, trade questions, dynasty stuff, all that fun stuff. Yeah, hopefully we get a good game tonight. I think, it's always tough to beat the defending Super Bowl champions on a Thursday night at away on their home turf, and they're all hyped up from, hanging the banner and all of that. So, I imagine the Eagles are going to win, but you never know, man. You never know. I think the Cowboys offense could be good. I think the Cowboys are in an intriguing fantasy situation. Like, are they going to be Bengals-esque? Are they going to be Bengals-esque this year? The Bengals were fantasy gold last year. A great offense with a terrible defense that is fantasy gold, right? And that's what we got with the Bengals last year. Could we get that with the Cowboys this year? I think we could with Micah Parsons leaving. I think there's a chance. So we'll see. We'll see if that's true. But I think their offense can be pretty good, especially the Dak, George Pickens, Ferguson, CeeDee Lamb. I don't know about their running backs. We'll see what's going to happen here. Yeah, no problem, Pete. We'll be here all year for you guys. Marvin says, most interested in watching the Bills versus Ravens. Not really excited about today's game. I mean, you got to be excited because football's back, though, Marvin, right? Like, it's been 7 long months. And so you got to be excited that, I'm a little bit upset that the Bills-Ravens is in week 1, because week 1, man, we don't give a shit what games are on. We'll watch anything, right? Like, we'll watch Saints Browns play. And because it's week 1, we'll watch it. I mean, in general, most of the time, we're just going to watch any game. So, I feel like you kind of wasted Bills Ravens. I want that on a Monday night in November, December, like Sunday night in November, December, late in the season and stuff like that. It feels a little like, oh, come on, week one, like, but it is what it is. I'm not going to complain. Football is back. So, but yeah, this is day one of going live every single day during the football season. We'll see if I make it. Maybe I'll not be able to make it one day. We'll see. But I'm glad football's back. If you guys are new to the channel and watching this, hit the like and subscribe button. We're inching closer to 1,400 subscribers. Join our Discord. I'll leave the link in the chat here. People are already asking start, sit, trade questions in there. So hop on in and appreciate everyone that stopped in, Marv, Pete, and we'll catch you guys all tomorrow.